Jonathon Gannon is going to be talking with the Houston Texans today about becoming their head coach. Denver on Wednesday, Minnesota on Thursday.
I hate to say it, but that ankle injury probably was the best thing that happened to him. I know everyone's seen anybody hurt, but it forced him to focus on becoming more of a pocket passer. I thought he could do that. He needs to work on his anticipation. That's the biggest thing, though. Not and let it fly when he sees a receiver breaking.
Too many late throws.
Too
many late throws.
Welcome back, guys, here on Bird 365. The off-season has begun. We will be talking Philadelphia Eagles with you here every Monday through Friday. Save a couple of holidays between now and when camp opened up, and then preseason games, and then actual regular season games. It's so far away, I can't even see it. And we will tap into smart people like Chris Franklin over the course of the next 9 months until we get to actual Eagle games again to help us with our journey. Chris, what is the blue over your left shoulder? Are you wearing suspenders, or is that just like? Oh no, it's lights. Okay, looks good on you though.
Thank you.
Like
it's the R.
You were going with a new look, one side suspender. I liked it. I thought you were a fashion trendsetter.
Yeah, that's the first time anybody's ever said that. Now, never probably ever be said again. So I don't know what's going on with that.
It takes one to know one. You're truly not a fashion trendsetter either. No. Chris, can I ask you a question here before we get underway and break down all Eagle stuff?
Yeah, definitely.
How much would I have to pay you for you to ask Nick Sirianni today why he deferred at the beginning of the game? I know you guys only get one question apiece. Sometimes you get to sneak in a follow-up, and you've got your own ideas on stories and everything else, and I'm not as tied in as you guys are. I give you guys a ton of credit, the hard work that you do. You get a little bit of a break here coming up, but tremendously hard work you did for the last 4+ months. What would I have to give you to ask Sirianni that way?
Well, I heard trips to Bora Bora are pretty nice around this time of year, especially with the cold.
One suspender look actually is in high fashion. Bora Bora, that's where you want
to go. I heard those trips are pretty good around there. I mean, I'll settle for Hawaii, but that's about it. Oh, sorry, the phone's going off at the same time. See, somebody's calling right now trying to ask.
That's Nick Sirianni calling.
Somebody's offering you more money than I am. You get in the bidding war here, right? You get a 2-round trips to Hawaii.
That's Nick Sirianni calling to say, you know why.
Yeah, it's like, he knows right now it's coming on, and I know I'm in trouble. Him or Gannon, either one of them for you. I told you guys not to do it. Oh, great. Yeah, I can see that right now.
So we've had with Chris. Usually we do this post game, thing with you the day after the game. We were both traveling back from Tampa, so you've had a little bit of a lull to digest what you saw in Central Florida. What? There's a lot of things to complain about, but what were you most disappointed about by that performance?
I got the beard like Captain Obvious, but I think the Captain Obvious thing is that they had missed opportunity ahead of them, because I thought Tom Brady wasn't the true Tom Brady that we used to seeing and truly on point. I looked like he was missing some throws and they didn't capitalize. And I really feel like I look at the defense of this one early on. I know the offense. I look at the way the defense played early on, and some of those decisions that went on as along the game. They didn't send Slay to travel around with Mike Evans. I thought that was key. They didn't do it the whole entire time. And when you saw when Slay was on Mike Evans for 9 times out of 10, he was really locking him down. So I look at that, and I just look at the opportunity of taking less than sharp Tom Brady. He didn't take advantage of a lot of those situations, and giving up 35 points. I know it's tough to stop them, but giving up 35 points in that situation is rough. And they're going to look back in the offseason and see all these missed opportunities that they have, and it's going to bite them a little bit.
That's interesting, because I can't get past the offense to get to the defense. Boy, I thought that was a terrible, terrible game plan by Nick Sirianni. Why did we come back to all the wide receiver screens and the nonsense that wasn't working early in this season? After he told us all week, it's just another game. Why the big shift offensively?
I wonder if he was a little worried about the wind. That's why I wonder. Like they try not to, they take shots downfield. I thought maybe that was another way to do that as well too, to loosen up those safeties to try to like basically keep them out the box a little bit. But I really don't know, and especially the thing I didn't get was why didn't they target Devonta Smith a lot more early on? They found ways to get wide receiver. They found ways to get screens to Kenneth Gainwell. They found ways to get Jalen Rager the ball, Quez Watkins, everything else. Where's Devonta Smith? I
Jalen
mean,
Rager the ball.
don't get me started on him. But when you look at just the overall, I think he had 2 targets in the first half, and the first one was called back because of that offensive pass interference penalty against Quez Watkins. And games like that, you need your best. In games like that, you need to target your best players and go to your best receivers. They tried to go to Goddard, you saw that, but when it came to Smith, I mean, I just don't understand. He led your team in targets, he led your team in catches, receiving yards. He's your best route runner. Why not try to even go his way? That's why I have questions about.
Yeah, I got to go with Johnny on this one. This was more about the offense and the defense. I know the defense allowed Brady to go, and you're saying Brady missed a couple of passes. Yeah, except he scored 3 times in 3 possessions. The end result is the most important thing. I'm not going to nitpick the play here or the play there. Did he stick in the end zone first 2 times he had the ball? Yeah, he did. So yeah,
2 out of 3.
Didn't do its
they
job,
did have the one drive.
He meatloafed it. There you go.
3 out of 4.
3 out of 4. Okay. 3 out of 4 ain't bad. So yes, offense, defense, they were bad all the way around. And yes, I would love it. You or any other Eagle beat guy asked Nick Sirianni about deferring. They were out coached pretty badly in this game too. And I'm going to now take the step back in a 3,000-foot view and say, I think the coaches did a good job. I think it was just a successful season from 4-11-1 to above 500 and in the playoffs. But this was bad. This was a mismatch. The Bucs coaching staff against the Eagles coaching staff, it wasn't close. It wasn't competitive, the matching of the wits on either side. Can this coaching staff just wipe that from their memories?
I think it's going to linger a little bit heading into the season. I mean, they were going against 3 guys, with Bruce Arians, and then I think they have 2 coordinators who should be head coaches in this league. And quite honestly, Todd Bowles, I believe, should be a head coach, and Byron Leftwich, I think, should be a head coach. And those guys proved it on Sunday. They really schemed up really good plans to basically thwart the Eagles and whatever they did. I thought that was key. Getting back to the Eagles, though, looking at what they've done, I think it's still going to linger. I mean, because now, if this team goes to play again, those questions are going to hang over their heads. Well, you got blown out effectively. I don't care if it's at 35. Yeah, that was a blowout, in my opinion. But I don't care what they say. They're going to have to deal with those questions next year if they ever make the playoffs. So it's going to stick around. I think they'll come back next year. I think they'll be better. I think the players will be used to the systems that they have and the schemes and everything. But it's a different animal in the playoffs, and I wonder if they're going to be ready for it.
By the way, I agree with you, Chris. That is the deepest coaching staff in the league. You can throw Harold Goodwin in there as well. He's gotten head coaching interviews in the past. Tom Moore is on that staff. Clyde Christensen's on that staff. That is the best coaching staff in the NFL. I do think the Eagles were overmatched from that standpoint. But a quick aside, because it just came out this morning, Jonathon Gannon is going to be talking with the Houston Texans today about becoming their head coach. Denver on Wednesday, Minnesota on Thursday. What is the disconnect between this fan base? I was talking about your compatriot about this on text message yesterday, Mike K. What is the disconnect between Eagles fans and the NFL's certainly looks like love of Jonathon Gannon?
I think so used to seeing the Buddy Ryan, the Jim Johnson type attack blitz, send 8 guys, like the fire zone blitz. Like you see all these, like the rush, and you saw that during the heyday. And now when you go from that aspect to Jim Schwartz to Jonathon Gannon, where it's more of try basically containing and not giving up so many big plays over time, because these offensive are going to spreads and attack, throw the ball. I think they're starting to look at people who can possibly limit and find ways to do that. He's a bright guy. He's a very bright guy, very personable guy. I mean, the players have continually talked about how he's a good communicator, and and we heard yesterday, I think it was TJ Edwards telling him about telling us the whys, and the players buy into that. And I just think, and he also think they were 9th against the run and then 11th at pass or something like that, right, or reversed. I think
top 10, number
10th. So I think I think owners and general managers are looking at stuff like that and saying, well, he's got the statistics that show that as a defense. But I think when it comes to the fan base, they'll say we want to see more sacks. It doesn't help. Also, the Eagles finish next to last in sacks. That's another thing, and
they sacked Tom Brady 4 times. I don't get it.
It was Ryan Kerrigan. Where was that all year?
Yeah. He was slow playing us, Chris.
I think when Ryan Kerrigan, if you see him attack the way he did, I think you should have known this game was in trouble if he was having a good game. So yeah.
let me kick in on John's question. You're right. The Eagles fan base has an inordinate disdain for Jonathon Gannon with what he's done this year, but I'll give him at least this much slack. It's just like the Eagles in general. Gannon stopped bad quarterbacks. Yeah, he put the clamps down on Jake Fromm. John, you could put the clamps down on Jake
I don't know
Fromm.
if I could. I think I could put together a plan.
I think you could. I think you could whip up a great game plan to keep Jake Fromm from moving the football. So that's where I'll cut the Eagles. Again, they despise the guy, and I don't get it because he did a decent job this year. Not a great job. Not a bad job. He did a decent job this year.
I think it's interesting. I think if he was top 10 where he was, they finished 10. I'll throw this out to you, Chris. But they were top 3 in blitz percentage instead of bottom 3. I think they look at him as a genius. Same finish, number 10, but they're top 3 in blitz percentage instead of bottom 3. I think Eagles fans love him. But the kicker there is if they blitz that much, they wouldn't be top 10.
You get toasted. So like, I can see it being one thing. I can see the narrative right now. He's an aggressive guy. He brings a lot of passion and energy. Meanwhile, he's the same guy. So mild mannered, laid back guy. Like I understand. I get where fans are coming from. They want to see a lot of energy. They want to see a lot of passion from that. Well, when it comes to the way they play defense, and they want to see aggressiveness. And when you sit back and you play it safe, I think fans are just like, no, why aren't you taking it to the other team instead of just seeing what the other one do? They want I think the fans are saying they want to see the defense dictate what happens instead of let everybody go past them and see 75-80% completion rates. But I think overall, I want to see what Gannon does. I think Gannon does with more of his own players that fit his system in the second year. That's the key, I think. I think
they get a second year though.
I think he will. I think he'll be back. I don't think he'll get one of those jobs. Personally, I don't think he's going to get one of those jobs. I think he's going to be back in the second year. And I think next year is the one you see him either, if the defense really excels and have another great year, I think he goes after that. Or if the defense really, really takes a big step back, I think we'll see him going after that.
We know Nick Sirianni got one interview last year. He got in a room and he won Jeffrey Lurie over. Jonathon Gannon can win some people over.
He could.
I'm not saying. I don't think I'm with you. I don't think he's getting a job, but he can win somebody over quickly.
I wonder if his old boss, Eberflus gets it. If Eberflus gets it, then I think next year for sure he gets it. If not, I may wait.
No,
that's the key.
He's going to have, if we're all right in suggesting that we don't think he's going to get it this year, not impossible, as John points out, but a long shot. Then he'll be judged that much more by what he does next year with this defense, because they should upgrade this defense during the offseason. Yes. I don't know how many times John told me this during the year, and he is so on point. Gannon is, if he's staying and it being courted by other teams, doesn't hurt his chance to have some influence in decision-making rooms down there at the NovaCare complex this offseason. Get me a playmaking linebacker. Please let me have a playmaking linebacker. My defense could be so much better if I had a playmaking linebacker. Well, the Eagles have 3 first-round draft picks. Johnny Mack, when was the last time they used a first-round draft pick on a linebacker?
Off-ball linebacker, 1979.
1979. So Jonathon Gannon is going to have to try and change 40 years or 30 years? No, 40 years of disdain for drafting linebackers high Is he going to be able to pull it off?
I wonder if Jerry Robinson. I wonder if he takes like the Dolphins used to do and pop champagne every year. The Eagles didn't like get drafted. Was like, oh, I got another year of this. And I think if he does have a bottle already, I think this is the year it changes. I really truly do, because especially with 16, I think they trade. I think they trade 19 or 16, one of those things. But I think with the other pick, if Nakobe Dean or Devin Lloyd are sitting there, they can't pass that up, and I don't think they will, because they're both three down linebackers. We've heard how important, how much that Gannon's like to have those guys that can play the three downs, that can call the signals get the signals from sideline, call the defense, stuff like that. So if you have Edwards, if you have Edwards and say Lloyd or Dean, and then you have Singleton, I personally, if it's Avery or Johnson, that whole Sam thing, I'd probably get out of that. But the fact that you can have interchangeable guys that can play that if need to in the alignment, that defense just becomes really, really, really good. And I think this is the year they actually truly do that. I think they get a linebacker, and I also think I'd look at cornerback, because Steven Nelson's a free agent. I'm looking at, personally, I like Ahmad Gardner out of Cincinnati. I really, truly like him. I think he's another version type of Darius Slay. He's a guy who can man up, guy who can really be a shutdown corner. I know, and you're going to hear this over and over again, he didn't give up a touchdown his whole entire time when he was in college. Yeah. And the AAC is a really tough conference, but there's also the Tulanes of the world in there as well. So yeah. But I think cornerback, and if Kyle Hamilton from Notre Dame somehow slides down to 15 and he's sitting there, they need a safety.
He's not going to be there.
He's going to be gone. Yeah. But would Howie move up to trade a third, to move up to say 10, 9, 8? Just did the 76ers on there, but yeah, would he move up that way? But yeah, why not?
Yeah, I agree. He's not going to take all three of those first round picks. He's either going to spin them off to get first round picks next year, quarterback, hint, or he'll probably take two and go in that direction, and then it kind of depends on where the board falls. But we got a lot of time to talk about the draft. We got to talk about the quarterback. I mean, this city is schizophrenic when it comes to Jalen Hurts. 1 week he's 10-year guy, he's franchise guy. Next week, you can't move forward. You can't play him one more game. The real, it's obviously somewhere in between. But how much did the Eagles learn about Jalen Hurts from one playoff game? How much can you learn? Or did they learn? Did they already know?
You can't learn from one play. I think if he won that game, then there's no question that he's the quarterback, I think, for the next 2-3 years, because he can always beg, hey, Hurts beat Brady. Okay, you can buy that. I don't think he can learn too much from this game. I think that you have to look at, I'd probably say, how much he progressed overall the whole entire season. That's where I'm looking at, because how many times have you seen? I mean, look at Kyler Murray last night. Look at some of these other guys with the one playoff game.
Mac
you can't
Jones,
do that. Yeah, Max. Yeah,
Derek Carr in his first playoff game was not good.
You can't. I think you have to look now. If it happens next year, the Eagles are in the playoffs, or even halfway through the season next year, and you start to see that there's no progression whatsoever. He's making the same mistakes. He's still holding the ball out with one hand in the pocket. He's not climbing it well. Then I think you start to really, truly worry. I think that. But overall, I think this season, Jalen Hurts did a very good job when it came to his improvement. You still think he's a very good leader on his team. His intangibles are there. His passing in the pocket got considerably better. And I really, truly believe considerably better. And that ain't. I hate to say it, but that ankle injury probably was the best thing that happened to him. I know, everyone's seen anybody hurt, but it forced him to focus on becoming more of a pocket passer. I thought he could do that. He needs to work on his anticipation. That's the biggest thing, though. And let it fly when he sees a receiver breaking.
Too many late throws.
Many
late throws.
Yeah,
and
that was the scariest thing in Sunday's performance for me. He looked skittish. And I hate when my quarterback looks skittish and not ready to pull the trigger. And he did look that way. All right, then let me ask both you two guys. Since Johnny threw a name out there, said he didn't think he looked good. He was the second best quarterback on the field, but I didn't think he was terrible. And that's Derek Carr, who could have made a play at the end of the game and got tied up. He didn't. He's not a top 5 quarterback. He's probably not a top 10 quarterback. He's the top half of the league quarterback. If you could get Derek Carr in a trade from the Vegas Raiders, who blew out their general manager, who haven't made a decision on their coach yet, might go into total rebuild mode. If you could get Carr for a first-round pick, would you do it? Chris? John?
I'm not. I think especially if I'm going to make a big trade like that, I want to make sure I get a top 10 guy. Because if I had to rank right now, I'd probably say Hurts is probably about 15, 16 in the league, just overall, just based on what he can do with this offense. And I look at Carr, if I'm going to give up a big asset like a first round pick to move up, I want to make sure I get somebody who's at least in the 10 or at least or 2 first round pick. I want to make sure I get somebody in the 10. But Carr's got his good qualities, but overall, if I'm going to do a trade like that, I want to make sure I get an even better commodity to put myself in a better position to move forward going on.
Yeah, I would agree with Chris from an organizational philosophy. I think the head coach would like Derek Carr. I think the head coach would like to run more of the offense that he wants to run. But I think if the Eagles are going after a quarterback, it's going to be, Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson, ilk.
Right, but and I'll let you finish, John, but the reason why I bring it up, if you can't get Aaron Rodgers, if you can't get Russell Wilson, if you can't get Deshaun Watson, if you've judged the draft class to not be any better potential-wise of where Jalen Hurts, and it comes down to this, you've checked all other avenues, we stay with Jalen Hurts and play it out another year, or we go get Derek Carr for a first-round draft pick. Which of those two things? Taking everything else off the board, which way does the organization go? Another year of Jalen Hurts, or you can get a proven top half of the league quarterback for the cost of your last of your 3 first-round picks. If you want to get really technical about it, would you keep Hurts or would you go to a guy like Carr?
Chris?
I'm still keeping Hurts. I'm still keeping Hurts. I think there's something to it when it comes to like the leadership and chemistry and everything else, especially with this young core. I think there's something to that as well too. So even in that scenario, I'm still rolling with Hurts next year, and then I'm looking at I like next year's draft class a lot more, even though they probably won't get Bryce Young. He's gonna be too high, but I look at overall just the draft class of 2023 quarterbacks available. I think that's a way better class than this year's.
And I think that's the other option you left out, Jody. They just kicked the can. I never got this philosophy that Jalen Hurts has 1 year to prove this, prove that. No, you can be a bridge quarterback for 2 years. You can be a bridge quarterback for 3 years. I've always said the Eagles will get better when they think they can get better. And that means it could be immediate if it's Russell Wilson or Deshaun, and they're unlikely to get either. Or they will kick the can because they probably don't like the top names in this draft, so they'll kick the can to next year. They'll look at the landscape. Can they get better? Can they not get better? And by the way, this whole time, Jalen Hurts has a chance to prove you don't have to get better.
He can improve.
Yes, which is so. I never thought it was as difficult as a decision as most people thought. Like there was some kind of this weird, you have 1 year to figure out if Jalen Hurts is going to be your long-term starter. No, you don't. You got to have as long as you want. And the fact that they were competitive and made the playoffs with him gives you even more rope to say, all right, let's see how this thing plays out. Am I crazy there?
No, I think that's the way to go about it. Because, and like you mentioned, I think that you've seen the growth, you've seen what he's done, and you're hoping he's going to continue to improve in the offseason. You're hoping that he takes his second year in this system and really starts to feel more comfortable and starts working out, and maybe that anticipation of throwing the ball gets a little bit better since he feels more comfortable with the way the offense is. Like I truly believe Russell Wilson goes to the Giants, if anything, and I think Deshaun Watson, if he's traded, he goes to the Panthers now because Matt Rule, I think, is a little bit desperate, and they want to make a splash down in Carolina. So unless, and I think Aaron Rodgers, if anywhere, Aaron Rodgers will, he retire, he stays in Green Bay, or he goes out west somewhere. So those 3 are gone.
Yeah, but I will throw in, Chris, if by some, strange, strike of lightning, the beam of light coming down at you looking like an angel
right there.
goes over the Eagles, and Deshaun Watson wakes up and clears all his legal implications and says, "Yeah, I'll go play in Philly. Thanks, Jalen. I'm going in a different direction." And I don't think that's an insult, by the way.
And
I know some Eagles fans do, but when you have an opportunity to get a player like that, you gotta do it.
And I'll speak for some of those Eagle fans who might say, "Yeah, he's a really good player." He's a bad dude. Where there's smoke, there's fire.
No.
I don't want this guy who maybe or maybe not potentially being the quarterback of my team. I get it. I talked to how many people who wanted no part of Michael Vick to be the quarterback of the Eagles. The Eagles said, "Sorry,
Jeffrey Lurie's been pretty consistent. You either believe in second opportunities or you don't.
Right.
He's given.
There'll be a percentage of the Eagle fans that don't like it. And let me give Jalen Hurts this. We only remember what happened the last 20 minutes. And the further we go back, we start to forget things. We're only 12 months removed from Carson Wentz saying, "Get me the bleep out of here. I don't want to be in Philadelphia." So what? You fired Doug Peterson. Still get me to Indianapolis. I want to go see my friend Frank Reich. Wah, 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 wah. That's not going to happen with Jalen Hurts this year. Even if they're talking about acquiring Russell Wilson, they're talking about acquiring Deshaun Watson, they are talking about acquiring Derek Carr, all those possibilities. If they don't pull it off and they go back to Jalen Hurts, you know what Jalen Hurts is going to do? Show up at camp ready to play. He's going to be ready to take the challenge. He's not going to whine about, "Oh, the Eagles talked about this quarterback and the other quarterback. I'd really prefer to play elsewhere." At least they got a guy who's got his head screwed on straight, who is a focused athlete, who knows what the league is all about, not a big baby like Carson Wentz.
Well said. I agree. That was well said.
I didn't know you had that transcription of that call. I like the transcription of the call. Wow. I want to be with my friend Frank.
Make sure you get the quotes in bold letters too.
Yeah.
With that.
I like it.
It's true though. I think when you have a guy who knows he wants to come into the building, you have a guy who the players believe in, the guy who wants to be a leader and wants to actually be in Philadelphia, that goes a long way. I mean, you start to see players like, was it somebody? I think it was T.Y. Hilton or something like that liked a tweet that said like Carson, like that disparaged Carson Wentz a little bit. It was like a couple of weeks ago, but I think when you look at the way you have a guy who wanted to go out there, a guy who played too much hero ball versus a guy who wants to try to relate to his teammates and try to do a lot better and improve in that aspect, I'm taking the guy who wants to be in Philadelphia, and that's Hurts overall.
Yeah.
It's that.
Yeah, it was pretty striking. Jordan Mailata after the game talking about Jalen Hurts. That is, I don't think people understand how much his teammates like him, how much his teammates gravitate towards him, and that's a big part of it. But at the end of the day, though, Chris, this league is about, it's a meritocracy. You either perform or you don't. And the intangible stuff, it's interesting because normally when you talk about young players, you worry about, okay, does he have the intangibles? That's when we start talking about Kenny Pickett and Matt Corral, we'll say, do they have the intangibles to play the position at this level? With Jalen, it's kind of the opposite. You rarely see it with young players. He has all the intangible stuff, the work ethic, the leadership. But you question, okay, does he throw? We talked about the anticipatory throws. Are they going to be there? Can he throw people open? I don't know. And we've been through a whole season, and I still don't know. That's a concern to me.
That's the biggest question, and it's the accuracy aspect that still lingers. He's gotten a lot better. I mean, heading into last year, everybody was 52. This year's 52%, 52%, 52%. He's gotten better at it. I think personally, it's a little bit more mechanics on some of those things.
Yeah,
especially squaring up his shoulders. Like that one throw that he tried that got picked off. He was trying to throw Devonta Smith. I mean, that's a tough throw going to your left and trying to reset and throw downfield. But that's, if you want to be one of the elite quarterbacks in the league, you have to do that. You have to make the throw like that. And just little things I saw in his mechanics here and there. He's gotten his foot placement. I think you're right. And I think everybody says, "Oh, he doesn't have the strongest arm. He doesn't have the strongest arm." You don't have to have the strongest arm necessarily, like as an arm.
Yeah.
It's all your core and making sure you get your fundamentals right to make sure you get it in a place where the receiver can make a ball. do a couple tweaks there, he's all right. But the key is, can you do it consistently? That's where you got the questions at.
All right, Chris. Last question for me is going to be a multiple choice question. Okay.
Okay.
Here are your choices. This is the reason most likely to cause Jason Kelce to come back and play again next year. That Jalen Hurts goes in and tells him, you've been singing my praises. I'm here. You're here. We got to do this together. I love the way you snap me the ball. Come on, big guy. Tell me you're not leaving. John McMullen goes in and tells him, listen, I don't want to hear my whining partner, Jody McDonald, talk about how big a drop-off at the center position there is going to be if you're not playing here. Is it Lane Johnson who says, you worry about my mental health? You know where my mental health will go if you retire on me, bud? No, we're a team. You got to stay here right next to me. Or his brother says, come on, you and me in the Super Bowl. I got Mahomes. We can get there again. You can get there again. Let's give this one more time. Let's run it back. Which of those is most likely?
Although, as much as I would love to see John be the one that was the one that was able to get him to come back, I would probably say it would be the first one. And actually, no. Actually, I think it'll be Lane, because I think that offensive line room is the way they talk about each other, and it really struck me when they were talking about. When somebody asked about, hey, like when it came to crying in the office, they really truly get emotional and everything else. I think that has a really, really big effect on him and on each other. And I think it'd be reversed. Like Kelce's there for Lane when Lane was going through his stuff. If Kelce was in a similar predicament, or like he was like looking to retire and he's really on the fence and he's really, I think Lane would come to him and say, hey, you know what? I'm good, man. Let's do this one more time at least. And I think that would seriously be a heavy consideration for Kelce. I mean, look at that. He was the last one of the last people in the locker room once again, taking it in. So you got to worry about it. But I got this feeling he's coming back next year. I really do.
Yeah, I got that feeling too, and it's because of the cafeteria. Jason will be back. He'll probably retire today, but if he comes back, it'll be because of the cafeteria at the Novacare.
If we get that text now.
Appreciate it whenever you come on. We love the look. You gotta get that down. You gotta know exactly where the sun is at all times. This Zoom look. Zoom.
And I gotta jump in, Jody. NJ.com. Make sure you read Chris at NJ.com. You see there.
Who doesn't know he's on NJ?
Franklin.
What kind of idiots watching Bird 365 don't read Chris Franklin at NJ.com?
I gotta pump them up.
We know all our smart listeners already do that.
They're very smart. Thank you. Way smarter than me, but thank you very much. I appreciate it.
McMullen's smarter than all of us, so that's a given, Chris. We both got to try and stay in his wake. Chris, thanks, buddy. We always appreciate it. Even though the offseason is here, we're still going to tap into you plenty. Thanks for doing it today.
Hey, thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it. Always fun.
Thanks, Franklin. Chris. From NJ.com. That's NJ.com. If you don't go there
and by the way, do never say NewJersey.com around Mike K. Ever say NewJersey.com.
Gotta be NJ.com. Correct. All right, McMullen and McDonald coming back. We'll put a bow on.